Baby Geniuses 2. Let's talk about... Wait,
Yeah.
No, that's not it.
No.
Clerks.
Trace.
Clerks 3. We watched it finally.
Yeah. After an ordeal of trying to find a way to watch it.
Why is it when we finally found a movie theater we could watch it in, then we could stream it?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fuck. That's what we wanted to do it all along, so... What were your impressions, sir? Because you already know my feelings, so I'd at least like to get your full feelings, and then you can have my stupid opinion for the listeners.
It's gonna be, I'm assuming, pretty
good.
Yeah,
Good.
really good. It's
Good.
it's definitely up there in the top echelons of Kevin Smith movies, whatever that means to certain people. But I mean, now granted, I've been a noted fanboy of Kevin Smith, so it would have had to been like really bad for me to be. Like, yeah, it's okay, but honestly...
You throw comic book work in there, too, or just the, movies and stuff?
You mean, like, that
I'm
I'm
a fanboy?
Yeah, no, like, he had a really good Green Arrow run. Some of the other stuff I've enjoyed. His other kind of, like, he did a couple Batman miniseries with that Walt Flanagan, his one friend from the Comic Book Men people. And those were okay, but, yeah, and pretty much, yeah, like, comics, movies, his podcast... I pretty much check it all out, But regardless, I really put this up in the top tier of 1A of
right.
of his movies.
Because movies you're supposed to give it out of 10 usually, right?
5 or 10, whatever the scale is.
You know what? We always do 5. I'll just go 5. I give it a 3.5 out of 5.
I was gonna say like 3.5, 4, something around there.
I'll have to give it a rewatch.
I definitely want to watch it a couple more times.
A lot of people critique the overuse of like the nostalgia factor because essentially the plot is Randall has a heart attack, aka Kevin Smith's real life, and then he pretty much remakes the original Clerks movie through Randall and his actual, which is kind of meta, but I liked it. I didn't think it was nostalgia done in like a poor way because a lot of people thought, oh, they're just showing all the shots from Clerks, but no, they did it, I thought, in a creative way.
Yeah.
And, like the ending, we both agreed, like, did not see that coming.
No.
I thought it was actually a really good send-off. I really liked that those final scenes before like when the big climax is happening. I was like, holy shit, this is like, you get you emotional,
Yeah.
So,
as you said, after what, verklempt.
Yeah, a little verklempt, and who would have thought from a Kevin Smith movie you'd get a feeling like that. So I thought that was really good. The humor wasn't Clerks 2. As I've just said many times, that's one of my favorite comedies ever. I think it's endlessly hilarious.
Yeah.
Raunchy, gross.
Yeah, but that's not saying that the comedy was bad. I don't think the comedy was the forefront. Like, I don't think that was supposed to be the focus of this
we still
film.
laughed a lot. It just wasn't, like, this wasn't made to be like a straight comedy like the other ones really were. What was really interesting was like the Elias character.
Yeah.
Who, going in, you're just like, okay, he's just gonna be goofy Elias, always kind of fun. But he kind of takes over.
Yeah, there's like,
but just being there.
Yeah, that's the transformer guy from the second one. But it was. Yeah, he has one of the greatest like character arcs in the whole movie.
The most ridiculous character arc. What I didn't like about the movie, which you'll find in like the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and maybe some of whatever his newer like. I didn't see Hoga Hosers, but from the clips I saw, you get the feel of like old man trying to bring young hip stuff to like he don't get it,
Yeah.
Actually, me and Ashley were just talking about Stephen King, how it's kind of funny when he has a young character in one of his newer books.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, okay, old man, that's not actually how they're talking.
He tries.
Yeah. But you get that feeling. Like the main one in this movie was all the Bitcoin jokes.
Yeah.
Like even when he made the movie, when it was most relevant, it still probably wasn't that funny.
No.
So none of those hit for me. And like it kept going on about like a kite. Because there was like a Jesus kite, and that was their Bitcoin company, and it was just, I don't know, Kite Coin or something.
Yeah.
Just wasn't very funny. But that was like the main negative. That and Jason Mewes' teeth, and he can't help that. It's just they freak me out.
Well, they're not real.
They freak me out in Reboot too. Yeah, but they're like, I don't know. Remember that episode of Family Guy when Brian gets some big fucking horse teeth? Kind of reminds me of that. And also they really, really tamed Jay's character.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't, granted he's supposed to be obnoxious in most movies, but and like the Clerks 2 is a good balance where he's obnoxious, but it's still funny. maybe in like the reboot was a little more sentimental, so maybe he wasn't obnoxious from what I remember.
And he was like the main character. He was, they were like
toned
the main.
him down too. When he was younger in some of the movies, you could they had to use him sparingly.
Yeah.
Like Mallrats is a good example. He's just like, he's there, but he's not overbearing. But if he has his own movie and he was like that the whole time, you'd be like, all right, fucking enough. But in this movie, he was nowhere near that. And I don't know, I thought it was a fun movie. I thought it was creative. And like I said, other than like the Bitcoin stuff, I don't really remember even like slogging out at all. The acting was good.
Yeah.
Everybody did their job well. I thought the casting, bringing back some old people from the originals, like they did a good job.
Which I thought, like, even like, because like in the second one, like, the Brian O'Halloran who plays Dante, he's still like he's a working actor kind of, like, he shows up in kind of the movie, like low budget movies and stuff like that. But Randall, the guy who plays Randall, Jeff Anderson, he doesn't ever really do anything other than like the Kevin Smith stuff. But both of them did like a really good job of actual acting in this film, other than
which
like
they did in the last Clerks as well.
Yeah. But again, like we said, like the last one,
it's easy to be the snarky, funny guy.
Yeah,
but to have the emotional range that they showed was pretty good. Especially at the end of this one, you have not seen. Trust me, folks. You watch any of the Clerks or any of those movies, you have not seen these two act the way they do at the end of this movie. You're like, holy shit, it's like real people now.
Yeah,
like he got real serious real quick. You're like, whoa. So I would recommend it to everybody. Like I said, 3.5 out of 5. And again, maybe just because like the whole nostalgia factor, that actually would drop my score a little lower to 3.5 versus like a 4 or 5. Just because, like, even though they do have a purpose for showing all of, like, the original Clerks stuff, like them reshooting and stuff like that, at the same time, it's like, coming from Clerks too, this isn't necessarily is an original screenplay like that one was. This one does have a lot of rehashing. If you go just originality, maybe half the movie's original material. The other half is just them bringing back stuff from the original Clerks.
And as to quote Mr. Kevin Smith from many podcasts and things that I've seen him on, he just had a goddamn heart attack.
Yeah.
Give him some slack. He almost died.
Actually, Reboot was his first movie after heart attack, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because he had all the vegan jokes in that or something.
But
thank God no vegan jokes in this.
No, not really, no.
Because that kind of kills it for you.
But like, because, they were trying to make this movie forever ago. So this wasn't the original script for it. I remember hearing him talk about, like, before, like, the first one was, like, kind of darker.
Yeah, and it was way different.
Yeah, and he was talked about before, like, probably down the line, maybe doing, like a comic or something of it so fans could see the difference. So I'd be really interested if he does end up doing something like that. I want to see cool, what the difference is between the two. Because like you said, like this is very influenced on his past couple years of of
well,
his
that'd
life.
be like Jodorowsky's Dune, that he did all this work to make that Dune movie, and then in the studio shit canned at the last second, so he ended up turning to the comic Inkle, which apparently is I haven't got a hold of it because it's kind of expensive, but apparently it's amazing, and everything he wanted to do in the Dune movie he just puts in that comic.
He just takes off the serial numbers and makes it into his own thing.
Yeah. So yeah, folks, go watch Clerks 3 if you're a fan of the Kevin Smith movies. Also excited because I heard he's making a Tusk 2.
Yeah, he's something that he wants to work on that.
Poor Jason Long.
Right? Oh, doesn't he have a fucking awesome character in the because he has a cameo in this, and he as a nurse, and he just has a great just a few minutes on screen.
Yeah, he did a good job with the cameos. Like he did one chunk where he got all the main cameos out of the way at once. So
who I was surprised I didn't see? Jason Lee.
I thought that too. There was a moment in the movie where a background character looked like his character from My Name is Earl.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that him? So I wouldn't be surprised if he actually is in that just for that scene.
Maybe.
In the background, but he doesn't actually have a speaking role or anything. But I could be wrong too. It was blurred out. Like it was like kind of, because it was
out of focus.
Yeah. So you couldn't really see, but I swear it looked like him, but it was only for a second. And I was drinking heavily when we watched that. So like I said, I'm probably going to watch that again this weekend, honestly, to really ruminate in it. Because there's a lot of stuff you miss when you're laughing your balls off.
Yeah, because again, a lot of his writing when it comes to the jokes, it's a lot of layers.
Yeah.
So you can miss things if you're laughing at one thing and you miss. That's one thing I like about Clerks 2 so much is the jokes and the layers and how they kind of interweave and work together.
Mm-hmm. And I really like how they brought back, they were going to go to movies to shoot a part of the movie Randall shooting, and you don't ever get there for reasons, but it's just it's cool that they were going to bring it back, but it was just enough of okay, we're not going to actually rely on the Clerks too. That's not what this movie's about. I like that he didn't make it about the second Clerks, really.
It's more about the first one.
Yet the whole plot can't happen without the second Clerk. So that's pretty interesting. Because there's an interesting undercurrent story that goes along with Dante's story. Yeah. We're used to Dante being the main character.
Yeah.
So it's so weird to see him take a back seat to Randall, and Randall's the main character, but Dante's story seems way more important. Mm-hmm. It's just it's an interesting dynamic I really enjoyed.
And anybody who goes to watch who hasn't seen it, there's not an after credits scene, but wait, there's a little thing towards the end of the credits you want to make sure that you stay for.
Yes. So anyway, we have a show for you.
We talk about things probably.
Yeah, we don't have a topic today, so those are usually the ones that people love the most, Spencer.
Yay! Good for them.
Yeah, you cool cats. I was gonna say the F word, but I didn't. I call them. I find that's not actually a term of endearment. Calling people fucks.
What about fuckers?
No, still not. Well, it depends. If you take pride in your fucking ability, maybe.
What would have you say that you fuckers?
You fucker. Yeah, but that means you're fucking, right? You guys are fuckers. Because if you're not fucking, then you're not fuckers.
You're just fucking around.
You unfuckers. Why are we talking about this? We have space music. That's what the fans really want. You are listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast, the DPW Podcast. Why am I specifying? Because you probably didn't notice. I changed all our social media handles. Now we're just at DPW Podcast all across the board.
That seems a lot easier and simpler.
Yeah, should have did that at the beginning, but we had a website back then that we were the main focus. We weren't just a podcast.
True.
But now we are just a podcast. So
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Leaned into it.
Yeah.
So any old mentions we have of at Drunken Pen Writing, whatever, don't go anywhere now. Because we are the DPW Podcast. And that's it. And it's easier. And that's all you folks have to look up now at DPW Podcast. So my outros will be a lot simpler.
Yeah.
And what is the other news? Da, 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 da. I don't have other news, I don't think. If I do, it's not important. So I am your host, Caleb James. With me today, Spencer, the Colombian Cookie Crumbler Church.
That's not so bad of a thing to do in Colombia.
No, you could do a lot worse. So we just momentarily ago. What a dumb thing to say. Momentarily ago.
Is that just an actual word?
Momentarily is, but not the way not in that sentence. It's not used right properly. Fuck. What I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is, a moment ago when we were off air, you happened to mention. Actually, I happened to mention that when we do the new podcast, I'm just going to do a pre-recorded intro so I won't have to do all that dumb shit anymore with music and everything. And you said, but what about the name? I said, Spencer, I've been doing the dumb names for years. So it's a new podcast. Why do we got to keep it up?
Everybody likes the names.
Do they? Do they like it?
The couple people I talked to like the names.
Some people actually do like the names. Well, I can still do your name special. Every time, because you might not be on every episode on the new podcast, because I might say, you know what, Spencer, I'm bigwig now. Bigwigging you.
Your britches getting all big.
Now you're a producer off to the side. Aha. The drink I am drinking, by the way, cold brew coffee Jameson mixed with this s'mores whiskey I got. It's actually really good.
Well, what's your thoughts on just the alcohol and coffee mix, in general?
Well, I don't think I've ever actually just put straight, any kind of alcohol in my coffee.
But, don't they sell that?
It's a cold brew coffee whiskey. So it's just cold brew coffee flavored whiskey. It's probably not actual coffee mixed with it.
Oh, so wait, it's whiskey that tastes like coffee or coffee that tastes like whiskey?
The whiskey that tastes like coffee.
Oh, okay.
I think it's illegal to have coffee that tastes... Well, I guess it wouldn't be if there's no alcohol in it. It's booze.
Well, I thought that they were like I thought that you could buy coffee alcohol, like, you know, coffee alcohol mixtures, like, you know, like you could go someplace and they would have, like, you know what I mean? Maybe I just always misunderstood that, because I just always thought that would be just a weird mixture, not only taste but going ons in your body of the caffeine from the coffee and then just the alcohol. Just
we call that an old school Fort Loco.
Yeah, just raising inside of you.
I don't know, man. Look, I just work for the DPW podcast, and that's it. That's all my life is. I don't focus on none of these who's making witchy what. Actually, last time I was in the liquor store, which is when I bought that s'mores whiskey, I was like, why is there so many flavored whiskeys? Like, that's like, here's my opinion.
Now, should whiskey have a flavor?
Well, whiskey should be the flavor. No, here's my opinion, because I do like some of the flavored whiskeys as mixers. Like, I don't mind mixing them, but I generally can't drink them by themselves. If you're going to drink booze, but you don't like the taste of booze, then maybe you just shouldn't be drinking.
Ding, ding, ding. That's me over here.
Yeah, like, because I like beer, but I actually like beer-flavored beer, too. Like, I like weird shit and all kinds of flavor stuff, whatever. But I actually like, I would prefer just a regular beer over, like, a White Claw, seltzer water, flavored passion fruit.
Now, when you say regular beer, you mean... like
not a cheap, like, domestic, like Miller Lite or Coors, but like a hearty,
like a Guinnesson or something like
that.
that.
I'll do a Guinness. I like Guinness, but even that's still a domestic beer. I like craft beers. Just, you know, good strong. I like strong beers. If it's less than 6% alcohol, I generally just like, okay, now I'm drinking water. You know, some one of them fucking alcoholics. Like, I need high proof, but I also like, because then you only need a couple and you feel all right.
Yeah.
I never understood the whole I need 20 beers to get a buzz. Like, that's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing that?
And then you just feel bad.
Exactly. You feel terrible. Versus if I could just get 2 beers that are 10% alcohol and I drink them fairly quickly, because I drink things very quickly, then I would be feeling okay.
Now, since we're doing a little bit of booze science here, with the IPAs,
right?
Are those supposed to be more towards like the Millers, but like just like a fancier title and stuff like that, or are those more designed to like, oh, you don't need it, because like I just always hear like they taste like shit, and then
IPAs are generally closer to like a Rolling Rock because they're pale ales. What IPAs are just Miller Lite and stuff. I mean, it's pretty much like water, but it's supposed to be like a lager.
Yeah.
Because you have your lagers, which are kind of like not necessarily heavier beers, but just like you're drinking beers. Classic lagers are a bit heavier. Miller Lite's not a lager, by the way. That's a Pilsner, actually. Pilsners would be your lighter golden beers, which would be more your drinking beers. Your lagers are a little heavier, which I think maybe Budweiser. Well, Budweiser's a lager. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't drink domestic beers, really. If I'm one of those guys, if I go to a party and that's all I got is like fucking Busch Light or some shit, I'll just have iced tea. Like,
yeah.
I just like, if
get
it's not
water.
I don't just drink to drink, you know? Unless it's like some people I really don't want to be hanging out with. And it's like, I need to drink just to talk to you. But like an IPA, one, they're very hoppy usually, at least they are nowadays, so that makes them bitter. If you think of eating earwax or something, it'd be something like along those lines. But I've had some IPAs I really liked. Though over the years, I've noticed I steer away from them now. I'm more of I like stouts, which are dark beers, and porters, which are also dark beers. I like dark beers, malty beers. I used to really like IPAs, but at some point they just like, I don't know, too bitter maybe. Maybe they just don't make me feel that good anyway.
And I just know that they always get kind of lumped in with like those hipster kind of crowds too, like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I think that's also what killed it, is because the original IPAs, they were pretty good quality because it was still more of a niche thing. And then the hipsters got involved. And this is before we had the big seltzer boom and the flavored
I hate that
apple juice shit, like all the ciders.
I hate that seltzer shit. Like, I remember one time I was at a friend's house and like, oh, hey, you want to try one of these? And I was like, yeah, because I knew that like they're not supposed to be like that strong and stuff like that. So I was just like, and it's supposed to be like some kind of fruity flavor. So
it's like badly flavored water.
Oh, so badly flavored.
Well, there
water.
there are some that probably cram full of sugar that do taste more like not fruit juice, but like, you know, like a fucking weird flavor, like a Fruitopia or something from when we were in school.
Like the one I had, it literally not so much like, well, yeah, kind of in the taste, but also the texture just immediately reminded me of like the prep you have to take to clear you out before like a procedure, or like that's what like that like and maybe it's just because like I've had to drink more of those in my life,
like a chemically fruit flavor.
Yeah, like it just kicked that in my brain, and I was just literally I took like a half a sip and I was like, oh god, you can have the rest of this. There's no way I'm gonna even put this, like it smelled bad to me.
Well, I always see the videos and the memes and stuff of people getting like White Claw wasted, and I don't understand how that's even possible because. Like my wedding, for instance, because that's when my buddy Tyler was working for Budweiser, and he got a shit ton of the Budweiser seltzers, and he brought them over, and I probably drank fucking 15 of those things in like an hour and a half, and I didn't even get a buzz. And like I've had a bunch of different seltzers over the years, and it's just like, yeah, I'm pretty much drinking water, right?
Yeah.
At most, I'll get a headache before I ever get any kind of drunk. So I don't know how people get drunk off of those. Maybe that's just because, I'm a whiskey guy. Like, have a couple whiskeys, that'll get me feeling good. But like, cause even beer, if it's even the really strong, cause I've been having like, this year, I've really transformed into sours, which are like fruit beers, but they're like, fermented fruit sours.
Oh, okay.
A lot of those would almost be closer to wine, like the flavor wise. So I've been really into those, which I always liked those, but usually it was like periodically. Now I've been really into those, or what's a new kind of beer that it's really expensive. I'm talking about like I've been spending like $25 for 4 big cans, or smoothie beers.
Okay.
Which they taste just like fruit smoothies. Like they're really good, really creamy.
So they have do they taste like feel whatever, like a liquid, or do they taste like when you have a smoothie? And
like a smoothie, like a thick smoothie.
So almost kind of like a milkshakey kind, like that kind of.
And what's really interesting is like so far all the ones I've had tasted just like the description. So if it's mango, marshmallow, vanilla, raspberry, like whatever is on the thing, it tastes just like that. It's so good, and you don't touch they're like at least 10% alcohol usually each, and you don't taste it at all.
See, maybe I need to try one of those. Maybe those
you would. I think you would actually dig. Next time I get those and you're here, I'll let you have it. The problem is, like I said, they're like $8 to $10 a can.
Cool. So, but if they're like what? Because
you really enjoy them, and they're the big cans.
And what, like 10%? That's
strong.
That's pretty strong for a beer, right?
But for those, like you don't even taste it. That's what's crazy is like because the sours. Usually, especially if they're like Belgian beers and stuff, they are really strong.
Yeah.
So you're drinking them, and it's like a really, really strong wine. You're like, holy shit! Like you really taste the alcohol. It's got that heady burn, not the throat burn, but like that one that goes up in your sinuses, and you're like, woo! You get the vapors. But the smoothie's nothing.
Well, I wouldn't say the smoothies get you in trouble, but like that heady stuff, that just flashed me back to that time we tried the Absinthe we got.
Thanks for reminding me, because that's next week. Actually, are we doing one podcast before Halloween? I always like to do an Absinthe on Halloween.
Oh, really?
Well, that's my tradition. I have two. My butterfly absinthe's almost gone. I've had that since I lived at the old place. Special ordered it from Switzerland. Oh. Really good. I'm not even a black licorice guy, because most absinthe, they taste like, because of the anise, it tastes like wormwood, or not wormwood. Wormwood's in it. That's supposed to make you see the fairy, but it doesn't. It makes it taste like black licorice, the anise. But the butterfly is really, really good. And then I got another one from Switzerland called Clandestine, I think. And that comes in a blue bottle. The one absinthe is green, the butterfly absinthe. This one, I think, is more of a either blue or clear, and it's really good. I'm almost out of the butterfly, so I have to use that for maybe my Poe Toast I like to do on Halloween. I do things by myself that are weird, folks.
So did you just pour the stuff out that we got from Wizard Water a few years ago?
No, that's still in the jug. That's the ones we made?
Yeah.
Yeah, you smelled them a couple weeks ago on the air.
Oh, did we smell those?
Maybe when we did the wine tasting?
Maybe, yeah.
Remember the cinnamon one? We were like, oh, it smells so good. And we're like, taste it. And we did it. And we wanted to try. I mean, maybe it might be great now.
Well, I just didn't know if you ever got around to going back to, because I remember when we tried that one, it was like drinking paint thinner. Our heads and chest got all hot and sweaty. Like,
I don't know if you've ever tried the good absinthe.
Probably not. No, I don't think so. No, I think the only kind I've tried was the kind that we tried to make.
Well, the good absinthe, you have to have your special absinthe glass, and you're supposed to do a drip. And what I find is like the butterfly and the clandestine, I think are sweet enough on their own. They don't need it. Because I have tried it. You get the special spoon, you put on top with the sugar cube, and then you have to cold water drip until it fills up. I don't have time for that, for one. But two, I've done that, and I haven't noticed any difference than just slowly pouring cold water straight in without the sugar cube. I don't think the sugar cube's necessary, but I had never had a really, I don't want to say strong absinthe because all absinthe is like, really high alcohol content. But I've never had an overpowering absinthe, which I think would be a bad absinthe, right?
Yeah.
I did have a local absinthe called Wiggle, which was like $65 for that little bottle of it. It was really good, really strong licorice flavor though. And that one I think I did use I was gonna say ice cube, the sugar cube to offset, like, because it wasn't bitter. It's just like licorice sweetness is different than sweetness.
Yeah.
Like, because when you have a liquor, like say you just are eating licorice, which I'm not a fan of black licorice, like regular. But if you're just eating licorice, there's already a shit ton of sugar in there probably.
Yeah,
like, like Twizzler or something. But if you just have like the anise flavor, which is the licorice flavor on its own, that's like eating cinnamon on its own without mixed with anything. It's like, yeah, it's the cinnamon flavor, but it's like it burns your head off. Like it's way too strong. So that's kind of like what the Wiggle was. It was too strong, and I had to dilute it a little with the sugar cube to sweeten it up a bit. But even that, I wouldn't say that was overpowering. But I've heard people say they've had absinthe that's like overpowering, and it's just like, like, why are you doing that? But I like to use it traditionally for my Poe Toast. I like to do around Halloween time. I usually have one or two a year. That's all I need, and it's always around this time of year. So I'm actually overdue. I should have did that tonight, but like I said, what's the day? 20th? Oh, we'll have one more next week.
Yeah.
We'll have a special Halloween episode. Ooh. So maybe when you come over, I'll let you have a little sipper of you could try it out. Like I said, it makes your mouth numb kind of. It's weird, which is so it's not good to drink that while doing a podcast.
We can't sound any worse.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Maybe one of those ones you have to play backwards to understand what we're saying.
Maybe. Summon some dark spirit. Oh, that's another thing off air. I was trying to open my lament configuration I just bought. I have opened it not many times, a few times playing with it and stuff. It's very, very hard to open.
It did take you a good 15 minutes and you failed.
Yeah, it hurt your face. It's weird. Like, it seems like it's impenetrable, and then all of a sudden you just touch it at the right angles and it will just pop open. You're like, what the fuck? So I don't know. I don't know the trick. But I do know the Cenobites are not very nice.
Well, I mean, they're Cenobites, right?
They don't brush their teeth. Except for Chatterer. He has good teeth hygiene, but the other ones, not so much. Is it tooth hygiene or teeth? It has to be teeth hygiene. Because tooth hygiene would suggest one tooth. And that would be weird if you're just brushing one out of all your teeth.
Yeah. That's like that's for like the hillbillies. You have a good tooth hygiene.
Yes. Oh, can we share with the folks our great news? Especially your great news.
I guess, sure.
So, since the DPW shut down and our depression and the rage and Spencer's incessant drinking and drug use and my, I don't want to say murder spree, but unalivening spree that I went on for a little bit there. Once we calmed down, we decided, at least I did, I'm going to buckle down and I'm going to submit to a shit ton of magazines now. And I submitted a couple stories that were newer from the site that is no longer there to some magazines. And then I wrote a news story the other night, submitted that to story or whatever. Long story short, I think I've submitted to 12 publications.
I was going to say, it was a decent amount when you were showing me.
Yeah, beginning October. I was rejected by 2, but that was more because I also was running a little side thing here where I wrote some real bullshit poetry to see if some of these publications really can tell the difference. Because another thing we talked about off air is like you read some of the stories and poems for these publications and you're like, that's like, is that dog shit? Why is this? Yeah. Why did this get published? And you're like, well, they don't publish me, but they would publish that. Like, what's happening?
Yeah, and you're trying to not sound like
a dick, but
or like talking about an ex after you got dumped or something. But like, yeah, you do kind of look at some things. And
it's a little weird. You're like, why did that get published? So I did that with the poetry, and that was my 2 rejections so far. None of my stories got rejected yet. That's not true. I had 1 in the summertime, maybe 2 in the summertime. Might have been the same story. I don't remember. That got rejected, but that was for I think that was for 2 Halloween either collections or contests or something that I didn't think I had a big chance with to begin with. One of those like bigger magazines. So I was like, I just did it to, because I always like to do a couple a year. Yeah. But now I'm like, I'm serious now. So I'm buckling down. So I got 10, I think 3 of them are in progress. The other ones are received. And so I got like 10 working now. I wrote up a board and I said, Spencer, I'm not going to be the only one submitting here, buddy. You're going to get on the board too. So Spencer, we found him a publication, signed him up for Submittable and everything. And the most amazing thing happened. We submitted his story and it was rejected within a day.
Within days.
Within days, 1 or 2 days. And I was like, damn, that was very fast. Did you get just generic, oh, sorry, this story just wasn't a good fit for us? Or?
Yeah, like we didn't, and then that, and then it was the whole, but the amount of reception we get, please don't submit anything for like another month. And it's like, I don't know if you're getting that many stuff, guy.
Yeah, that's what I always think. I, the next day, submitted the same magazine. I have not heard back yet. I'm still in progress. So, my story was a bit longer, but we'll see. That is the good news, though, is that we decided to put ourselves out there in the awful world of submitting to magazines to build up our publication history since we do not have DBW to fall back on anymore. But I am hopeful. I have, out of all the submissions so far, only 2 of them actually I'm confident in. If those get rejected, I'm going to cry. If the other ones get rejected, I'll just be, I expected that.
Yeah.
But my plan after this, whether they're good, rejected, accepted, whatever, this round, once it's done, I'm going to just work on straight news stories from submissions. I'm not going to mine any older stories that I think would be good fits or anything. I'll just save those for our own collections in the future.
Yeah.
But main thing is
or if you do use them, maybe just completely rework the idea and try to come up with something newer, because again, those are older stories. Hopefully, we're better writers now. Mm-hmm. So,
I know I definitely am because I submitted, I think 2 older stories that maybe 2-3 years ago we put on the site, and I went through and I did rework, because I'm like, oh, why was I writing like that, or what the fuck, did I even know what that word meant at the time? So I did rework those, spiced them up to my current style here, and I submitted those. And my plan with those ones, if they were to get accepted, I would use those in the anthology, because I specifically submitted them to magazines that the rights fall off within the year or whatever. So we put out an anthology. I can list that in the anthology as it first published here, because that just is a good look that it was published somewhere else. So hopefully some of those stories will get picked up. But I don't even care about making any money off them right now. I think maybe most of them pay something, but I just want them to get published just to be out there. So I could just be like, okay, those stories were good enough, and now I can work on my new stuff.
Yeah.
Well, also, because I'm I'm pretty far along in my novel now. So when it is time for that to start to come out, which will still be, at least a year away, hopefully, I would like to have a somewhat decent publishing history for when I query agents and stuff. Try to either get an agent or publish it somewhere, whatever I'm doing. I would like to be able to, I was publishing these. I'm not just some unknown. So that's kind of the goal with that. Because again, without our portfolio of DPW, we kind of have nothing.
Yeah, right, yeah.
What about you, sir? Have you any goals in mind here?
Just to, I want to
take my vitamins, drink my milk, and
say
my prayers.
Yeah, say my prayers. And I should probably that's something I should probably try to do, is try to how we do try to come up with end of the year for the next year goal things. I should probably try to start figuring some of that what I want to try to accomplish next year. I
think it would be a good idea to try to knock out I'd say by January, even if it's just 3 flash fiction stories specifically catered to publish, published. I think that would be a good idea, or maybe 1 or 2 flash fictions and a short story up to 2,000 words or something.
No, I because if you haven't gone to any new things yet when it comes to other than the one story for submitting, right?
Yeah, I wrote a new one, but other than that, the other stuff was older.
Because I wonder now, because before we always kind of talked about when we were doing a lot of the flash fiction, really short stories, we were man, writing a bigger story is gonna be difficult. Do you think now we're trying to go back to write new flash fiction?
With that, I haven't written straight flash fiction.
You know what I mean?
So,
do you think that's gonna? How do you think that's gonna treat you?
I don't know. That'd be interesting. Especially if it's 500 or below.
Yeah,
that would be tough. I saw a lot when I was looking for flash fiction sites. I found a lot that they are accepting 100-word stories. That's their big thing, and I'm like, I've written a few of those for the site. I've written a few 50-word stories. It's really difficult.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just difficult. It's not that fun, in my opinion. Because, yeah, it could be creative, but, you know, do you really want...
What can you really tell?
Yeah, fucking, you know, the old, what is it, new baby shoes, never worn...
Yeah.
For sale, whatever. Like, okay, I don't know about that. It's like, who's reading that? Who's going through that publication? Like, yeah, I'm reading 50, 100-word stories today. Like, it's weird to me.
Yeah, it's a different animal to try to tackle.
Yeah, because like the whole Drabble thing's like real popular still, which I'm just like, I don't understand why you want to read such short fiction. Cat's over there. He's been on the nip again.
Yeah, he's looking for the goblins.
He's looking for the goblins. He's all hopped up on the nip. So, fuck. And sucks, butt sex. Oh, and the reading-wise, my reading goals haven't changed. I'm almost done with Movable Feast. Then I'm going to go back to... Well, I'm a little conflicted now.
Okay.
Because my original plan, as I told you, was I'm going to finish Jerusalem, finally, after years.
No, you were going to start Jerusalem again.
Yeah, and then
I don't think you were going to get anywhere close to finishing it, but even by the end of the year, I think. I mean, even you have normally good reading speed, but I mean, like, that thing's like...
But here's the problem. That new Cormac McCarthy book I pre-ordered comes next week. The Passenger. So I don't know if I'm going to have the McCarthy bug and want to read that. Just so I can be like, I read a new... Like in the Classic Lit group. I read the book before you guys read the book.
Well, technically in that group, that book should not be talked about.
No, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm breaking the rules. On Fridays you could talk about that.
Oh, that's fair, yeah.
I'm going to post about it anyway. I'll do it under the guise of talking about, Cormac McCarthy, the author of Blood Meridian, and books that are older that qualify for the Classic Lit group, and his new book that I just got. Like, so anyway, that's about it. You got any new pressing matters? No. Yeah.
No. I like I said, I told you before we started recording, I was getting ready to start the Immovable Feast, but I don't know if a couple of chapters in, I don't know if that's something I'm prepared to tackle on fully yet with Mr. Hemingway.
Can I make a better recommendation?
What's that?
Another book you have.
Okay.
Because I'm going to give it to you. Jerusalem by Alan Moore. He has a new short story collection, Illuminations.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called. But I heard... Already makes me not want to read it. In the interview I sent you, did you read that?
No.
It was a really good article. It makes you go, oh, this guy isn't grumpy at all. Like you completely,
really?
You completely understand why he hates the media, like the entertainment industry.
Well, I was gonna say because like the last interview thing I've heard about him was stuff, like I said, trashing like the new Watchmen, like that Watchmen show.
Here's your problem,
and all that stuff. Like
you're hearing it,
well,
as headlines from other places. That you just need to read the
well, I can say it might be a different interview too.
That's possible, but anyway, one of the things about this new series or his new short story collection. Apparently, one of the short stories is novel length. I think they said
in the. What the fuck is that about?
How's it novel length? What does that mean? How's it a short story if it's a novel? Like,
and I've seen the book. It's not that big.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was a fucking misprint or what. When I read that, I was like, wait, novel length? What does that mean? Novella length? Novelette, maybe?
I don't know.
Cannot be a novel length work.
No, but I did see that both at the bookstore and at my comic book store because, like, when somebody like that, he tries to have, like, Grant Morrison's first novel, he has, like, a copy of. But, like...
if that's at the shop when we go up there for book club, I'll buy it.
Well, I'm going to try to wait for it to come out on in paperback, just to,
You know what? That's actually I just like paperback.
Yeah, and especially, like, I'm trying to really save my hardbacks for, like, my Stephen King's, Joe Hill, like that kind of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? And everything else, I can kind of be okay with paperbacks or like the Kindle.
That's why that Cormac McCarthy book, I went, like, Renegade style, and I don't know if this is good or not, because the first edition of his new book, I didn't get the hardback. I got the paperback. And you know what? You can't get the paperback already.
Oh, yeah?
It's still on pre-order. Well, yeah, it's still on pre-order, and I looked, and for a minute, it was like if you got the paperback, it was like $100 or something. And then it was, you just can't get the paperback. And I looked at the one that's coming out in the sequel. I think it comes out in January or December or something like that. You can't get, I'm kind of mad now because you can't get the paperback at all. Yeah, so I was like, God damn, that kind of sucks. Because you could have got the group deal, but I was like, I don't want both. Well, I think both of them you had to get the hardbacks if you did the group deal. So I didn't want the hardbacks. I don't want hardbacks. I'm not that guy. I'm not that hard. Anyway, folks.
That's what the wife says anyways.
Ew, that's harsh. If you liked our rambling nonsense, you can let us know.
Be prepared for more of it soon.
Yeah, by reaching out to us on all social media platforms, aka Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at DPW Podcast.
When are we going to get a TikTok?
Ashley tried to get me to make one for a while, and I was like, why don't you make it, buddy? Why don't you fucking make it? I don't want to be sitting there fucking dancing and doing all that shit.
I was going to say, we have a hard enough time trying to find things to put like on the Facebook and Instagram. Like, what the fuck would we put on TikTok?
I want DPW to go out gracefully. We're not going the whore route, going on the TikTok show and our fucking butt cracks. Just that. I don't care if the fans want it. They can demand it all they want. They can get it from the new podcast. We'll do all that stuff. We'll have cameras and we'll fucking have a producer and
we can have a Jamie.
Not a good producer.
Oh, okay.
They can't really afford that. Shit. So anyway, folks, follow us and I guess we'll check you for the Halloween. We gotta come up with a good episode for that then.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'll be, but we'll come up with something for you folks. Check you later.